Hello everyone. I suspect this music is not quite right though. Hold on. You're going to Bass Pro? What do you mean? Also, hello, Johnny.
Once upon a time, there was a little country town where folks had a very strange diet. Strangers who stopped for lunch ended up staying for dinner.
Oh, bass, not bass. Sorry. I'm realizing just how illiterate I am. Well, it's very nice of you to actually make the time and ask someone to type in comments for you because you're fishing. That's very dedicated that you managed to make the stream even though you're out there gathering food. His pose, I don't know. His legs, I need to work his legs out. Sort that out. Ah, see what I did. His hips are too forward.
Cannibal girls.
There it is.
Cannibal girls.
Let's try again. That was a warm-up sketch. Let's see. I'm gonna look for a better pose. That's better. Nice. Oh, hey, what's up, Gigi? Sorry, I haven't been looking at the chat. I've been looking at reference pictures. Oh, nice. You wrapped up a commission. You're done. That's great. What are you going to do for dinner? Yes, I too am feeling very lazy as a result of the heat. I also didn't sleep much last night, so I'm using that excuse at the moment to just kind of do less today. I have a lot of zucchini that needs to be eaten, so maybe some kebabs or a veggie roast. I love zucchini. I also have way too many grapefruit. I helped my Nana clear her tree and I couldn't give enough away. Yeah, grapefruit is delicious, but it's easy to have too much of it. Grapefruit's it's a fruit with a low sugar index, I think, so it's technically healthy for you. I mean, most fruit is. It's just if you're worried about sugar. How's your, if you don't mind my asking, how's your urinary tract after drinking that much grape juice, grapefruit? Do you find that you're like peeing a lot more? Because I know that isn't it supposed to be, or I'm thinking of cranberry juice. But I was pretty sure, don't some people do, they think grapefruit is really good for your urinary tract health? I'm changing the music. I did twist your arm about it. That's definitely true. Anyone can play back and see how much pressure I was applying to you. It's funny that you mentioned grapefruit because the missus and I, we've been doing a low sugar thing for a little bit, for the few days now. And the grapefruit was like one of the, I think I haven't eaten almost any fruit except that. We're trying to wean ourselves off of what may be a little bit of sugar addiction. I think her more so than me. But anyways, sorry. I don't think she wants me to tell people about that. Sorry, I love you, honey. Don't be mad. Welcome back. Yeah, I was saying I was talking about my ex. Well, yeah, she was very into grapefruit. I don't know why she popped in my head just now as I was about to say something else. My fiance and I have been doing a low sugar thing for a little bit, and so grapefruit was on this list of fruit we're allowed to eat, like low glucose, glycemic index, whatever they call it. And as a result of laying off of a lot of other sugar, grapefruit tasted really sweet to us. We were like, wow, this is incredible. It's possible it was an uncommonly sweet grapefruit. It's possible that our palates are changing. One thing I'm noticing is that I'm losing weight without even really focusing on it right now. So, because I got extra pounds on me, even though I work out a lot, and which I always thought was weird. And some of that I think is because I was just eating too much. Too much sugar. I was eating healthy, but then I would have a little too much sugar. So she was doing this low sugar thing, and because there's less sweets in the house as a result, I have less temptation. So I was like, hey, I'll just do this with you, Gigi says, I should do that. If you have some fresh lemon juice or a little apple cider vinegar with your food, it will lessen the insulin spike of sugars. Yeah, she was doing that for a while too. It says, it slows the way you break down sugar, making it easier on your body. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Something I've noticed, comedically enough, is that so there's this whole thing about when you do keto, or even just if you're not intentionally doing keto, but if you're not eating carbs and you're eating more fat in your diet as a result, it is supposed to be better for you. But in some cases, for some people, it makes you more sensitive to caffeine, like where it'll just ramp you up, something having to do with how your body responds to, I don't know, external energy sources. I have found it to be true. I don't really drink coffee, but I had some dark chocolate and it got me wilding out. I was like, I could not sleep last night, and I realized it's probably because I'm basically not even trying to do keto, but I'm doing keto because I'm eating a lot of protein and fat, and no sugar at all. So as a result, this dark chocolatey dessert I was eating and enjoying was my enemy. If anybody's wondering, I'm listening to the soundtrack to Capcom's X-Men vs. Street Fighter to get me in the headspace for my rockin' Wolverine art. Hmm. Oh, hey, what's up? Toga Stewart, is that how I say your name? Thanks, by the way. You drew Wolverine yesterday too? Gross says, God, I hated keto. It made me feel so bad. I've been trying to just eat a higher amount of greens and other veggie and less sugars. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary to do, you know. Also, like, it's not like people have to do full keto. From what I understand in my time in that field, it's like, you know, doing something somewhat ketogenic in your approach really helps. Like, upping your fat intake and lowering your sugar intake is probably a good, you know, I think it's been proven that it's successful in helping people out. People don't have to go further than that. I mean, you know, I'm sure, I know that for some people it literally has cured diseases, so I don't want to, you know, rule it out. But for me, it just, I don't know, the part of it that I didn't get into, that I didn't like, was that it was really contingent on mitigating protein. So if you're someone who's like doing a lot of strength work and, you know, it just feels like I'm not getting enough protein, you know, in order to enter ketosis and all that. And I was like, I don't know. Because I tried this back when I was boxing, and I was like, this is making me feel like my energy levels were good, but I didn't think I was sustaining so much muscle mass. Why is his leg bothering me? Let's see. It's not that bad, but... Thanks, Toga. Toga, I'm pretty sure this is your first time on one of my streams, right? If so, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I don't know if I like this arm. It's bothering me. I feel like I feel like this hand should be facing palm out so that you can see the claws in there. Their shapes, there are three shapes. Like facing flat against the screen a little more. Yeah, the lead leg, you mean it looks stiff because it's really dead on? That wasn't even the leg that was bothering me. But I think that's actually looking better. Yeah, no, you were right. I was wondering why the pose wasn't working for me. I think it's because I was being a little too conservative with like how he stands, you know. Like a wide open pose looks way more powerful. It also really makes for a. You're right. Yeah, it's a better silhouette. Pardon me for a minute, guys. I'm back. Where do I get my... Sorry, I'll read the question out first because people aren't going to be able to see the chat when they watch us after. Gross Girl says, where do you get these organic lines from as far as artistic influences? Man, it's one of those things, and I'm sure you can relate to this, where there are so many people that you were influenced by, that you looked at while you were learning how to draw when you were younger, that it's like it's really hard to place it, you know. But I would say I first learned from American comics, which, you know, especially in the 90s when I was growing up, had a particular style, and it was not really like this. It was not organic like this. But then as I got into concept art, when I was working in concept art for movies and stuff, and one game which never came out, the line art was more of a vehicle to get to the finished, you know, piece. So I got way looser with my lines, which was a hard transition for me because my relationship to line art was through American comics. So the style was like really like nice, heavy, thick, black lines, you know. But as I got older, after I left concept art and I quit doing that, and wanted to get back into comics, I started looking at a lot. Well, the thing is, I came back to comics with that change in my style, and it influenced the way that I, you know, applied my line work. And a lot of it is just like keeping a loose grip. Like this is the grip I use on the pen now. Sometimes I'm here. I'm almost never here. Because the smaller the motion gets, the closer you are to the tip, you choke back, and you draw from the wrists and shoulders a little bit, and that keeps it a little bit loose. And I have to remind myself to keep a loose grip, because that's going to be reflected in the way the line falls, you know. And yeah, I would say that's a big part of it. A lot of it is that people get a little anxious with lines, and an artist who will really help you, to remind you rather, to stay loose with lines is Jean Girard, also known as Mobius, because I was really influenced by him. I got really into his art, and, you know, French and Italian comics in general, and the artists who make them, because the way that he handled lines, it's like he looks like it was effortless, you know, and I like that look. So we see the chat. Oh my God! I can't believe you took the words out of my mouth. She says they look more like Mobius, very not American comics. Thank you. That is high praise to be mentioned at the same time as Mobius. Even to be mentioned in the same sentence as him is pretty cool. But yes, I am influenced by him. I don't think I make the kind of art he would have made, I don't even think I make the kind of art Mobius would have liked, personally. I feel like he was very... I mean, his American comics, when he did the Silver Surfer and Galactus, it is cool. But he's not into the big, muscly, characters. He doesn't seem to be, anyway. I am. I'm really into that. I like the macho shit. And so I try to apply elements of his line work style to the way that I do this stuff. So, it's also like making sure you're using tools that work for you. Like, this is the default pen in Procreate, which, you can get a good line with it. This is if you were going to do like American style inking, right? You do like line weight like that. I'm going to use a different one. I'm going to use the Fountain Inker. I've been really into this one lately. I'm going to change the music again. Hold on. As much as I like the nostalgia. There you go. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think a big part of the line work thing, and I don't know if you had this experience, Gigi, but like a lot of people get really nervous doing line work if they're not... I mean, you're more used to it than other people for sure, so maybe you don't have that experience. But I've known people who, like, when they're doing... People who paint, who are like legit illustrators, and when they're doing like comic line work, they actually get really nervous, or at least they feel uncomfortable, because even if they're doing digital, because they have this weird sense of permanence, this notion of like the permanent nature of line art, and how it's like, oh, I have to be very careful with every line. I can't mess this up. Which I just find kind of funny, because for me, it's the opposite. I think line art is more simple and approachable than, painting, for example. For me, because that's where I come from, a drawing background. So I think people, the reason I bring this up is because I think a lot of people, they get really stiff when they do their lines. They get anxious about making a mistake. So they end up gripping the pen really tight, and they move in a way that's like rigid, and they're like, every line is here, and they all have to be perfectly perpendicular, and then, the work looks very competent sometimes, even with all that. But it's lacking an energy and a life to it that I think is, especially when you're working on something like this, you want that energy. You want it to feel like it's in motion. And it's hard to do that when you're anxious. So I always try to remind myself, like, hey, I'm having fun. Stay loose. See, like right now, I'm flicking this pen. I'm just... See, already when I start adding the first lines, you can start to see the the personality of this particular image, you know, you can get a sense of like, oh, this is the mood and the feel of it. And thank you for saying what you said. That's very nice of you, by the way. This nose is a mess. I have to unink. Gigi says it's just so much you have to define with so little. I guess this is in reference to line art. You're right. So much you have to define with so little, and it becomes daunting. Tracing isn't an option either because it loses so much. That's also true. People don't realize that. People who don't draw don't understand that if you trace, it just doesn't look good. The more iconographic art gets, the more a learning curve there is and less room for error. That is also very true. Try to draw a Powerpuff Girl, they're tough to get exactly right. Yeah, there's this misconception among, you know, people outside of art, and I'm sure you deal with this all the time as a cartoonist, that they'll talk about how, like, they'll make reference to, you know, realism as, you know, higher up on the hierarchy of art, as if it's easier to do, you know, it's inherently easier to do art that's really cartoony, and a lot of people will tell you that's not the case. Actually, to draw in a cartoony style and to have it be totally stylistically consistent, and have your characters be on model every time they're on, you know, they're appearing. They always look identifiable as the same people, and yeah, like pure consistency of style. And like you said, saying a lot with very little. The aspirational elegance of cartoony art is very, very challenging. Hey, thanks, Russ. GG, that's my brother, Rusty. Rustam. Oh, sorry, I missed a couple of comments there. I think certain kinds of brains have an easier time with certain kinds of art. Some are phenomenal with more realism and struggle with cartooning and vice versa, while others struggle with drawing but are great at sculpting. Yeah, I think that's something that, I mean, like Johnny, for example, who's a sculptor, Johnny Pearson, who's clearly, who's frequently on my, my streams. So for anyone who hasn't met Johnny yet, he seems to be a very natural 3D artist. And it's just funny because I'm someone who, I'm really comfortable drawing, and then it's like if you ask me to sculpt something, I would be a babe in the woods. I wouldn't know what to do at all. But it'd be really cool to hire somebody to do a 3D sculpt of like my characters. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to hire someone to just like make a maquette of someone like BLACKMARROW or something. Anything that I've created. What's going on, Russ? Are the dogs more well behaved now? You know what, guys? BRB, I gotta do something real quick. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm cooking dinner at the same time, so I had to run off and flip over the meats. The reason I'm asking Rusty about the dogs is because my brother and I were on the phone, And hilariously, every like few seconds, he was like, "Andy, drop it, put it down." Anyways, that's what I was saying. And I just it makes me laugh because I told Rusty it's like it sounds like it's like he's yelling at somebody who's pointing a gun at him. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, I like Deadpool too." And he's like, "Put it down, put it down." But I get it. I don't have dogs at the moment, so I accept that is probably really stressful when you're trying to draw at your desk and your dog is like chewing on wood chips and. Damn, your dog pulled a cookie out of your pocket? Like Oliver Twist? Gigi, I really like that your cat uses your leg as a scratching post. I don't know if you realize this, Gigi, but you are living cat furniture now. I don't know if any of you have ever watched Venture Brothers, but in the commentary for Venture Brothers, one of the creators said he felt that the funniest word in the English language, the funniest sequence of words, was cat furniture. He just thought it was inherently really funny. I think I agree. This is where I flip the image and I look at how bad it looks and I go, oh God, why? What's wrong with me? That's looking a little better, I think. Since you asked, Gross Girl, Rusty, he is a freelance artist, but he's a teacher. He teaches art to kids. Last time I checked, unless he's changed departments, but confirmed that, Russ, right? You are a full-time art teacher, and then he comes home and he works on his own indie comics and paintings and. Okay, I gotta go check on my food. Hold on, guys. Let me save this. Should be done in 30 years. Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that, about the fact that Rusty paints. He's like hand painting it. I mean, I guess there's no other way to paint, to use your hands, but he's doing like Prismacolor pencils, and I think he said acrylic or gouache, one of those. But man, doing that for a whole comic. I work mostly digital these days because I get a real kick out of AI stealing my art. It just makes me feel really good, like, you know, down in my gut. I love knowing that it's being sourced by the Terminator, by Skynet, and that they're going to use it to replace me. That's the shit right there. That I live for that. I live for it. I've learned a big part of capturing rage in a character like Wolverine is neck veins, bulging neck muscles and veins. He's got to get that hemorrhoid anger in his look. I have to admit, I have a lot of client work I'm supposed to be doing this week. And I will, but I just really wanted to draw Wolverine after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine. I just was like transported back to the 90s when I was reading Chris Claremont, you know, and looking at Jim Lee's art, you know, with Scott Williams inking Jim Lee back in the 90s on a Chris Claremont script. It's just... those were the days. I had a little bit of nostalgia for it, and it just made me want to draw like really conventional, like somewhat conventional superhero characters. Like I was just like, I haven't done that in a long time, other than some of the stuff I've done with my retro, stuff. But sorry, I'm getting a lot of text. I apologize. I know that's an annoying noise. So another thing, Gross Girl, that for me seems to work is I move really quickly. Like I don't know that I'm necessarily going to finish this piece faster than anybody else who would be doing this, but I literally mean that like my movements are really quick, and that keeps my energy up. Like if I instead of focus on doing this perfect line, instead for me I'm gonna this. The victory of this image will be a death of 1,000 cuts, It's going to be me just going over and over, moving quick. And I think that I've noticed that my work is better when I don't draw carefully and then I instead just like go ape, go full high energy, fast. That people tend to like my art more when I'm not being super precious. And Dave, on his stream the other day, Dave was talking about that. He was talking about don't make art for other artists, or at least try to avoid doing that too much. Like make art for people that like to look at it, and because you'll find that artists and viewers, people who read comics and all that, like they get excited about different things. Someone who just likes your art, who's reading your comics or seeing your art on Instagram and be getting excited about it, and they follow you or they're following you on YouTube. Like, they're not concerned with how long you spent on an image. They just like the way something looks, or they don't. And that's something I still have to remind myself. I still have to, like, take a moment, take a step back, and think about the fact that, like, okay, this image is not going to be more important because it's difficult or because I did it slowly. That's not, you know. It's not relevant. It doesn't matter. And just because something feels easy doesn't mean it's not, like, it has less value or something. Because this right now feels very easy. It feels easy to just go with it and, you know, ink. Okay, I really like this, by the way. His lighting is going to be cool because I think I'm going to do something where he's kind of backlit. Here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to give an example of a gray tone layer. This is very rough, but so you can get a sense of the toning of the image and how it's going to... You know, this is a rough sense what it's going to look like. Okay, this is a general look and feel. All right, I'll be right back again, guys. Sorry. Hey everyone, I'm back, but I'm going to be eating. So I'm going to work and eat, but I'm going to keep myself off camera so you don't have to watch me eat a steak. Alright guys, thanks for showing up. I'll see you next time. I'm going to be working on this piece throughout the week, alright?